Welcome to my dad's podcast. It is called Up and Adam. Oh, and my mom's on it too.
You have found your way back to the Up and Adam podcast. I guess to be more correct, we have found our way back to you. Last week, we did not put out a new show. There's a number of reasons why that was. Let's just say for the record that it was Mother's Day, and we'll go with that being the reason that there was no new show put out next week. But again, Up and Adam podcast with Stephanie.
Hello.
We are back for episode, we think, number 9. We're not quite sure. But hey, we appreciate you for listening in. Remember, you can always follow us on Instagram and Facebook, Up and Adam podcast. We'll post pictures, we'll post show stuff, we'll post all kinds of stuff, even though we don't really post stuff on there. But one of these days, we might. So we're back. Stephanie, did you enjoy your week off last week? No show last week. What'd you do with your time?
Well, first, thank you for letting me have the weekend off last weekend.
Letting you? I don't know that I had a choice.
It wasn't me, it was the kids.
Is that true? So let's get into why. Let me paint the picture for the audience here, for the folks listening. It was Mother's Day, and of course, obviously, as a loving husband and father, I'm obliged to provide my wife Stephanie here with a Mother's Day gift. Happy to do so, by the way. And so I had, as you've probably heard through previous episodes of the show, Stephanie here has been just jonesing to go on a vacation.
Yes.
And she's got all these exotic locations that she wants, all these things. So your boy here, I'm thinking, all right, what am I going to do? Am I going to go blow some money buying her something that she's not going to want or need? Or do I just let her do this vacation thing, right? We were thinking about vacation spots. I think we narrowed it down to 3, Stephanie. What were the final 3 choices we had for a vacation spot?
Texas, Dallas, North or South Carolina, the beaches.
You weren't really sure, by the way, because you had said you wanted to go to Hilton Head, and you thought Hilton Head was in North Carolina.
No, Myrtle Beach was the one.
Either way, neither of which are actually in North Carolina. So it was actually South Carolina where you wanted to go, even though you call it North Carolina. I'm not really sure why.
The Carolinas.
All right.
And my third choice was Hawaii.
And so these were the things I was faced with. So I got to make a decision here, right? What am I going to do? These 3, and by 3, I mean her and the 2 children, they will just not let up on this vacation. Like, I can come home, have the worst day of work ever, which happens usually 4 or 5 days a week. And instead of like, hey, daddy, how's it going? Hey, sorry about you. It's like, when are we going on vacation? Where are we going to go someplace? I want to book soon before everything gets... That's pretty much all I heard for the entirety of my life. So
he's being a little
at
dramatic.
some point, your boy here just realized, I'm just going to have to go on vacation. There's just no other way around it. My family is just hell-bent on blowing the money that I earn. And so we're just going to have to do this, right? And so my thinking being as follows. We obviously are in California, which is much closer to Hawaii than the other 2 locations, right? B, I've actually been to both of those locations before, not to the Hilton Head, North Carolina, quote-unquote area, but I've been to both states before. We've all never been to Hawaii. So on Sunday, I purchased a shirt for Stephanie. It said, I don't know what it said on the front of it,
Aloha.
actually. It said Aloha on the front of it. And I put that in the bag, and I let her open the bag, and of course the Hawaiian shirt was in there. And that is how, for her Mother's Day, she was rewarded with the ability to spend my money to book as a trip to Hawaii.
Now, some people asked me if you gave in on the trip just because you didn't want to get me a Mother's Day present.
No. I realized I could have gotten you a Mother's Day present. It'd been a lot cheaper, but we were still going on a vacation.
Exactly.
So
And that's what I said.
There was no way I was getting out of the vacation. Now, I think what I did authorize is the ability to go on the vacation that I knew that you and the children really wanted to go on. And so that's probably what I authorized, and I did so on a Mother's Day. I did not come to that conclusion until probably Saturday-ish, that's probably the smart thing to do is to go to Hawaii while we're here, we're close, we can just get on a little plane there, a little 5-hour situation. So I didn't come to that conclusion until late Saturday. But so you get this news Sunday, I don't know, about 10 a.m. local time. And then let me just call on 10 probably the next 7.5 hours you spent at a computer trying to book this little trip. So that's really why there was no show last week. is because I couldn't get Stephanie away from the computer long enough to actually put one of these things on record. And by the time she realized it was like 8:30. She's like, "Oh, did you want to record tonight?" As if that was actually going to happen at 8:30. So that's our apology for no show last week. But in there, obviously, you heard the breaking news. And so I'm just going to lay out here. It's an industry term. Lay out here and let Stephanie just opine on her feelings, her thoughts about having this Hawaiian vacation now in her midst.
Well, I was super excited. It's like been on my bucket list forever. So I'm really excited about going. But did you see how excited the kids were? Like seeing their excitement just like filled my heart. And I know it's because they're spoiled rotten. But they're super excited about it. And I told you, I really wanted to do a trip like this now before Addison gets even older and doesn't even want to go on vacation with us anymore. And that I feel like vacations are for like building those memories that they're going to remember forever.
We could have done something cheaper and accomplished all those things too.
We could have. And I told you that. When we came up with the 3 options.
You told me that.
I said that Texas was the cheapest and let's just do that. But you were very nice.
Is that what you said?
Yes. And you were super nice and went the opposite direction.
Look, I'm not looking for bouquets to be thrown my way here, but just want to explain to the audience why there was no show last week.
But you guys, Adam's really not excited about going to Hawaii, so you guys need to excite him and explain to him how fantastic it is, because I really hope he has a good time too.
Yeah, I mean, Adam saw the bill. I think that's probably why Adam is less excited about Hawaii than you are or others perhaps. Is I actually saw the numbers, the thousands, the hundreds, the tens, and the ones place, the comma that was in there. I got to see all, and that's not even all in, man. We still haven't. There's food. There's excursions. There's adventures. There's booze. This is just going to be a fiasco.
It's definitely going to put a dent in the savings account, but it'll be something we all remember forever.
Yeah, that time we went broke. Yeah, I will always cherish the time we went broke. It'll be a fun experience for us. So that's life update number 1. One of the things that we had left open ended from the last time we recorded one of these, Stephanie, is you had been tasked with trying to find a way to use some slang terms. And I know a few people were very interested to determine if that actually happened. I highly doubt it did, but maybe you can surprise me and tell me if you were able to actually rip off any of those slang terms.
So here's the thing I learned. Stephanie was not made for slang terms. I tried, but I just sound ridiculous. But I did also learn that our daughter Addison knows almost all of those slang terms and what they mean. Mm-hmm. And it was a little embarrassing that I did not. I was like, do you know what goat is? She was like, greatest of all time, of course.
Yeah. So did you actually? So give us the scenario by which you tried to use one of these terms.
I don't even remember one.
Right.
I think they just didn't come up in my
conversation. Really, the real answer is you didn't actually try to use any of these, and now you're just lying to the audience here and telling them that you may have tried to, but you don't remember.
Like I kept trying to remind myself, like, okay, got to use one of those terms, and it just never came out of my mouth.
Gotcha. Well, so all right. Well, so disappointing information for the audience who was hoping to hear a funny story about you using slang terms. I guess you're all gonna have to be disappointed in Stephanie. She's not. She's not doing that. We had also been talking about our healthy eating challenge. Stephanie, I know you had. I kind of dropped off when you have a 9-to-5 job, and by 9 to 5, I mean like 7 to 7. Sometimes just things get in the way. And so, your boy here dropped off a little bit of the healthy eating challenge, but I know you were still into it. So you decided that you would not go 10 days, no carbs, no sugar. I'm not sure you went 10 minutes, but either way, can you update us on your fitness journey and how that turned out for you?
So my journey ended on Friday, but it's starting back again on tomorrow.
Yeah. You got to get Hawaii ready.
Yes,
huh? Yeah.
Now I have to really be Hawaii ready.
Yeah.
So I did okay. Like I lost a few pounds,
okay.
And I felt better, and I felt like I had a little more energy, and I was feeling a little stronger. But man, when the weekend comes, it is hard to eat healthy.
It is a challenge for sure.
Yes.
Weekends are tough. Again, I've got to get on the same train, so I've got a couple of lbs I want to try to trim down here, a couple of inches I want to try to move around a little bit. So I'm going to be in the same train. We'll see what happens. I tried to eat healthier today, but you dragged me out for lunch, so that didn't help me very much. Thanks for that, by the way.
You wanted to go all the way to Dublin.
I just wanted to go. There's just nicer stuff in Dublin than Tracy. If you've been in Tracy, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna try to figure some stuff out, get some more exercising in. We got a good WOD in yesterday. A good WOD. Maybe the people want to know about our WODs.
Maybe.
Maybe we should start sharing our WODs. I know you've got all kinds of great ones.
I have a whole album in my phone full of them.
In her phone full of WODs. Maybe we become a show about WODs. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Does it? Okay. Joke didn't work well on you, but either way. So that's what's been new with us. Anything else that you want to update the audience on, Stephanie, before we get into the meat of the show here? Anything else you want to share? Anything else happening for you?
Not much. Our kids have one more week of school, and then I'm stuck with them for like 9 weeks. So pray for me.
Trade you?
I know you tell me that every single time. You might. After this weekend with our talking man, you might.
No, I'll trade you.
Not want to trade me.
I'll trade you. There's no doubt in my mind that I would absolutely trade you. I'm not saying it's not. What you do isn't difficult, and it's not. I'm not saying you have just nothing. But I think just relative to comparison, I would absolutely trade with you.
I know you would.
But that's not going to happen. So then you have nothing new that you want to share with the people, right?
No.
All right then. So sit tight. Again, a couple of new things. We're going to try to get a little bit more structured on the show here. We took last week off. We also tried to retool the show a little bit. We're also looking at it. I fingers crossed, Stephanie. I don't want to share with everybody exactly who it is. But I know I've been working hard getting guests. Have you been doing the same?
No.
There we go. So I've reached out to somebody. This person's on TV.
Yes.
Quite frequently.
Yes.
We actually watch his show. And I just blitzed a couple of people with some notes and actually got a reply, which is not common. So, I mean, I don't have my email in front of me. I probably send like 100 emails a week. On various things, and I get like 2 a week back. But this was one of the 2 I got back, and this person was interested. Maybe now we had to share with this person. So here's where we need your help, faithful listeners. So this person was like, "Hey, yeah, that might work out. I like what I'm hearing here. I like what you guys are talking about. It may fit with this person. Just so I know, how big is your show?" And I was like, "Ooh, how big is our show?" And so in order to get these big name guests, which I know you guys want to hear from, right?
Yes.
We need your help.
Lots of help.
Lots of help. So Stephanie was going to double our listener count to get that Hawaiian vacation.
I failed.
Not so much. Pretty much the exact same count from previous weeks.
Are you sure?
I am positive. I will show you the stats right now. But if we start getting these people on, maybe we get some more people. Maybe you can tell a friend or two, and everyone would listen. Most of you would. Actually, what's funny is I shared this name with a few people, and there's actually a few people who had no idea who he was. So it's probably a niche situation, perhaps.
Yeah. But if you watch this show, you definitely know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you probably heard him before someplace. But again, no guarantees he's actually going to agree to do this. But if not, we maybe some guests would be. If you people know anybody who's exciting or interesting that we should talk to, and by we I mean me, because I'm not sure Stephanie's up for this kind of stuff. Adam's great at interviewing people. I am not. Yeah. But see, I think that would work in our favor, right? So like you just asked like I'll ask maybe the more philosophical question, the serious question, and you kind of ask like, when you're playing basketball, does it hurt if someone steps on your foot? Like you ask that kind of question. But I'll ask more about like, hey, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? Okay. I'm a little scared of this person if he does come on, so we'll see. Yeah. A little frightening. Yeah, I guess. I guess it might be. But we got to find people to talk to. I think at some point, clearly people don't want to listen to us that often, right? Because, we see the numbers. We know what that looks like. So maybe some other people coming on would be helpful. Yeah, that's exciting. Great. So that's exciting information. So sit tight. We're gonna start the sort of the new structure of the show right after this beautiful music made by my good friend Lyrics and Loops on Instagram. I believe Addison will say something snarky, and then we'll be back with more information. So listen up.
My dad tells my mom what's going on in the world. This should go well.
All right, so this is newsy topics. Stephanie and I have different interests. I think we've established this. And so there are things that happen throughout the news cycle that Stephanie reads and is very interesting to her. And then there are things that I read that are interesting to me. And so we are going to share those stories. Each of us are going to give you a story that's interesting to us. And obviously the other ones will give you some insight on that as well, too. So this is also going to be great because according to my counter here, at this point, I've now said like 1,200 words. Stephanie said 37. So this will be an opportunity for her to actually increase that word count. Stephanie, why don't you start now?
Okay. Our first news topic, which of course Adam really didn't care about, but this was like really frustrating to me. And hopefully, or maybe you guys have seen this, but a lady in Las Vegas was on a city bus and there was an elderly man who was 74 years old, and they must have gotten in some sort of disagreement on the bus. And when the bus stopped and opened the doors, she pushed the elderly man off the bus. He had a walker. Pushed him off the bus, and he literally like fell on the floor and just laid there. Now, not only am I like so frustrated that she pushed him off the bus, but in the video that they show, nobody on the bus gets off to help this man who's literally laying there not moving. Now, from reading on, the bus driver does end up stopping and helping, but the lady who does it just goes and sits down, and the lady who was standing behind the lady who did it, she has her hand over her mouth like, oh my goodness. And then she just goes and sits down. And it's so crazy to me. So it turns out this lady did go to jail, but she is already out on bond. And some people are really upset about that because the man ended up dying at the hospital later. And they said it was from blunt force trauma from falling from the bus. And some people were saying that she should not have been able to have bond, and some people were saying, well, she should be able to have bond. And so I'm interested to think, what would you guys think, and how would you feel about if you had seen this lady push this man off? What would you have done?
They can't answer you, but I'll try to step in here in their absence. Is there a video of the push?
Yes.
Is this a violent two-handed shove? Is this like a nudge? What kind of push are we dealing with here?
This is a two-handed
shove. Shove or like a bump?
No, she literally like
she
pushes him
out. Okay.
Like she wanted him off that bus.
Okay. And do we know why? Has there been any explanation? I'm not saying there's a good reason, of course, but I'd like to know all the information here. Was there a reason given for why there needed to be a pushing?
You know, there was. And let me see if I can find it on here. I don't remember the exact words, but he was asking her to something like mind your own business or something like that. Apparently he wasn't like cursing at her or anything, but they did have some sort of communication on the bus, and he was like a cranky old man, and she didn't like it. So there's
thought that this was premeditated. So she had decided like, hey, well, maybe not. I don't know.
I don't think it was premeditated, but it was, I think, out of her frustration for the cranky old man.
So she saw her opportunity to make even here, if you will, and decided to shove him outside the bus.
That's what it looks like.
That's what it looks like. Has she made a statement? You said that she was arrested?
She was arrested. She has not made a statement.
Have the police released any statement that, any reasoning, any information, any cause there?
Not that I've read.
Not that you've read. Okay. And then you referenced in your story, I swear I was listening, by the way, that the other bus riders, passengers, I guess we'll call them, they did nothing, I guess, as this happened?
No. They were shocked, and you could see in the video, they were like, oh my gosh, or one put her hand over her mouth, but they literally just sat there. And I guess maybe they were in so much shock they didn't know what to do. Mm-hmm. But, for me, I think my first inclination would have been to like run off the bus and see if this man was okay, or call 911 or whatever. Mm-hmm.
Are there any? So this brings me back to Seinfeld. I don't know if you remember Seinfeld.
I do.
They recently wrapped. I think it was their 20th anniversary of that last episode. And in the last episode, there's the Good Samaritan law, where George, Elaine, Kramer, and Jerry get arrested because they don't help an individual being defeated. Now, or being beaten up, I guess, defeated, different word. Now that's obviously satire, of course, and I'm not sure what the laws are everywhere. This happened in Nevada, you say?
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, West Nevada. Okay. Were there any repercussions for any of the other bus riders?
That is a good question.
Thank you.
I have not read that there was.
Oh.
And is there Good Samaritan law in every state? Is it?
I don't know. I mean, maybe we could research that. I'm not sure what the rules of the Good Samaritan law are.
But technically, like, he was already injured. Like, they couldn't have stopped the injury.
What do you mean he was already injured?
Like, it was just one push, and he was on the ground. And
well, I mean,
so,
perhaps if they would gotten to him sooner and helped him up, maybe there would have been less. You know, I agree that the trauma probably occurred upon the first pushing, and the contact of you said head to pavement essentially.
It actually said that it was his torso.
His torso
is what got the blunt force trauma.
That too. Okay, the torso blunt force trauma.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Nevada has no Good Samaritan.
No Good Samaritan. This
protection.
just in, ladies and gentlemen. I don't hold. See, you caught me off guard without a sounder here, Stephanie. Let me. So Nevada has no protection against that kind of stuff, huh?
Yes.
What does that mean? Hold on. This just in, Nevada, no Good Samaritan law.
I don't know what that means. Do you?
I think it means that individuals who are on the bus there probably don't have an opportunity to be prosecuted, I suppose, or charged, since there's no requirement for them to act or react.
Yeah, because it says a Good Samaritan in legal terms refers to someone who renders aid in an emergency to an injured person on a voluntary basis. So technically, yes, if they were in another state, they could have gotten in trouble for that.
Gotcha. But in this one, they did not. Okay, so then you say this lady was arrested, and she was charged with something?
Yes, murder.
Murder. Okay, but she's out on bail.
Yes.
And there's a court case coming. What do we think is going to happen here?
Yeah, she has to go to...
We should bring on a legal expert. Do we have any legal experts that we can bring on? Anybody out there? I think I know a couple of people who are lawyers. I'm not sure if they're criminal lawyers or like tax lawyers.
Oh, so it says...
More information.
Witnesses observed yelling and cursing at passengers and attacked the victim when he told her to be nice. That was it. He was telling her to be nice, and she got mad.
So I'm sorry. So this is on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
He reprimanded her and asked her to be nice.
Yes.
And then she became angry.
Yes.
And this predates the shoving.
By a few minutes.
Yeah. Sorry. Well, that's what predate means. But yes. Okay. So this pre-minutes for those of you and Stephanie Lynn there. So this pre-minutes the shoving.
Yes. And she has a criminal record.
Oh. This just in, the Nevada lady has her criminal record. So you got to lead with some of these facts. What's the charges here?
Domestic violence.
Domestic violence?
Domestic violence.
Oh, no.
In 2012 and 2013. And she has been charged with murder in this case.
So, but she's out on bail.
And she's out on bail. It was set at $100,000.
Okay. So typically I think you pay 10% of that, right, is the deal. So that's a pretty healthy. Do we know what this lady does for occupation? What's her job? Is that in there?
It does not.
Nothing about occupation, huh?
Nothing.
Interesting. Do you think she deserves to be fired from her work?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So she...
and hopefully she doesn't work with elderly people.
Yeah, you would think so. Well, especially after that domestic violence charge that she had, you would hope she's nowhere near people that she could help. Okay. So this story very much upset you. I know you came home and you were talking about it for like 30 minutes. I heard 5 of those 30, but you were talking about it for a period of time. I mean, your emotions are very, very high over this story. Anything we can do to help?
I don't think so, but especially when it comes to elderly people, I just have like a soft spot, I guess, for them, and they can't help themselves. Like if he's saying be nice, he was trying to help the other passengers not have to.
Now, is be nice a quote, or is that just a generalization of what he said?
From what I had read in a different article about it, he literally was just saying, be nice, be nice.
And that's a quote?
Yes.
Okay. It's not a generalization. Because what if there's some curse words in there? What if he said something? I'm not advocating for shoving the old man out of the bus or anything. But,
are you sure?
I mean, I'm not. But I also think there's often two sides to every. Here's the thing. You know what noise?
Either way,
you know what? I'm going to change my thing for later.
Pushing out anybody off the bus just because they're annoying you is not okay.
Yeah, it's not. You're right. It's not okay. And I'm not trying to assume that it's okay. Well, good. Well, thanks for sharing that. Will you keep us updated on what happens there? Can we expect you to each week just kind of breaking news? This just did. Let us know what's happening with that story throughout the weeks.
I will, and I feel anxious now.
Anxious. Okay, a little
that
anxiety.
story made me upset.
Well, I have two different stories. I'm not sure which one I want to talk about. Here's one. I know you're a big fan of Zion Williamson.
The basketball
player, yeah. Do you have any idea who he is?
He's the one who's probably going to go number one, right?
He should go number one, yeah. He should go number one overall. So they had the NBA draft lottery this week. This is what's interesting to me. Do you know what the draft lottery is, Stephanie?
Yes, I watched you watch it.
You watched me watch it. Very good. So the draft lottery is when they decide which NBA team gets to have the first overall pick. And typically how this works is the teams get ping pong balls, and they're put into one of those little ping pong lottery machine deals, right? And the worse you are, the more odds you're supposed to have of getting the ping pong ball, essentially getting the first pick. And so there were three teams that had essentially, had very bad seasons that were all within a couple of games of each other being the worst. New York Knicks, Phoenix Suns, Cleveland Cavaliers. Those were the three that most anticipated would get that pick, right? Not so fast, though. The NBA decided they didn't want to encourage teams to lose, and so they made some changes so that all three of those teams had kind of even odds, and other teams had increased odds as well. So when the ping pong balls came out, Stephanie, the New Orleans Pelicans got the number one pick, right? And everyone's just up in arms over these kind of things, right? They're all upset about it because, they wanted Zion to go to the Knicks. The Lakers had a chance, and everyone's all mad that they're going to New Orleans. So much so that people are even saying that he should just not go play for them. He should go back to Duke for a year, which he says he's not going to do. He should go play overseas.
I thought once you declare, you can't even go back.
Well, that's not true, Stephanie. You have a deadline. I think it's coming up soon, actually, where if you declare for the draft, you can, and you hire an agent, you can pull out of the draft and still go back and retain your eligibility. So he has a couple days where he could make that decision, but let's be real. He's not going to do that.
Got it.
But everyone's up in arms that he's going to New Orleans, right? I don't quite understand why anybody cares.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure New Orleans would be happy to
I think New Orleans is happy, right? But everyone's upset that he's not in a major market. So that really annoyed me because you're ruining the kid's opportunity. And at this point he got drafted. Everyone before him gets drafted. That's just the way the system works. Go to the team you get drafted to and play for them. I don't understand why everyone's
And plus he could be the big man there
they have a little guy named Anthony Davis. Not sure if you're familiar with him. Oh. He's actually pretty darn good. However, he last year said he didn't want to play for them anymore and demanded a trade. And so that's why New Orleans stunk, because they didn't play him all year because he had demanded a trade. And so maybe he wants to stay now. All kinds of drama with that. I don't really know.
Oh, wow. There's drama everywhere.
All kinds of drama. And then the other story I want to talk about, too, so I told you this yesterday. So we have previously talked about Steph Curry, the basketball player.
Yes, I do like him.
He has a new show out on Facebook Watch called Stephen versus the Game. And I found myself in a time warp yesterday watching episode after episode of that. There's 3 episodes out. And I find myself walking away wondering if I really think he's I guess I have a trust issue, I suppose, because I'm not sure if I think he's he seems genuine.
As real as.
But then you watch the show and you're like, is that really what he does? Or is he just doing this for the cameras? He seems like a really nice person. Seems like a nice guy. He seems very, very nice and, very accommodating family man. But I don't know, something about people I don't trust. I'm not sure how to handle that.
Yeah, you don't trust anyone.
Well, that's also true. But I think he's a good enough person, right?
He seems to be, from stories that I've read and even some of his Nike stories, with the girls' shoes.
That's Under Armour.
Oh, Under Armour. Eeks.
Yeah. Although Golden State doing well. They're up 3-0 right now.
Yes.
Over Portland. A series without Kevin Durant. Hot take, Stephanie. Is Golden State better without Kevin Durant?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? This just in. Stephanie does not think Golden State's better without Kevin Durant. Why don't you think that?
I think I don't know him that well, but
you don't know him well.
I think that
let's bring back Kevin Durant. Come on in. Okay.
I think that he would just add to what they're doing now.
Yeah, he's been there the last 2 years when they've won the NBA championship. So he's certainly added to that. That's for sure. But they're up 3-0 right now. Looks like they're going to head to the finals again. How do we feel about that? They're going to win potentially, or at least be in the finals for the 5th straight year. Have a chance to win 4 of the last 5. How do you feel about that kind of stuff? A lot of people get sick of the team that's kind of always good. I know I do sometimes. I find myself rooting for the Warriors, though. I feel like people don't like that or don't like me for that, but I find myself rooting for them.
I think that it's okay because from talking to you, look at me, I'm talking sports.
Are you? Okay, let's
that
go.
you think this will probably be their last year that they
I
win.
do. Yeah, I do think that. Do you want to know why?
You told me why, but I don't remember.
Well, let me tell you again. So a lot of free agency. So the NBA has a hard salary cap. So you can't re-sign everybody for max money. So depending on how many years you've been in the league and how good you are, there's a certain number of dollars and years that you can make. So right now, if you make like all NBA teams, you get kickers. So Steph Curry, I think he signed a 5-year, $205 million deal.
Holy moly!
He should be making $40 million a year, I believe. But they also have 3 guys: Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson. Both of those two, their deals are up at the end of this season, meaning they are free agents. Klay, I think, can sign a max of 5 for $190. KD could sign probably the 5 for $200 type deal, but he doesn't want to do that because he wants to keep himself open. And then Draymond, he is actually a free agent next season. So the reality is they can't afford all those guys. Somebody's going to have to take a pay cut there. One of those 4 has to take a pay cut.
Maybe they'll go to the Pelicans.
Interesting. You never know, right? Like if you get Zion. Well, see, I don't know if the NBA stars want to play with the young guys, though. The hot rumor would be Durant to the Knicks. And then they can bring another max contract guy. So Kyrie Irving is another name you hear. So you hear Kyrie and Kevin Durant to the Knicks next season. And then Golden State re-signs Klay. And then they got to figure out the Draymond thing at the end of next season. Hot take, though. The last 2 games, Golden State's played pretty well. They've come from behind both times without Kevin Durant. So he hasn't played now for the last 5 games, and they've won all 5. Draymond's actually probably been the best player on the floor.
Well, I see Klay Thompson doing a lot of good stuff too.
What kind of good stuff do you see him doing?
Like 3-pointers.
Like 3-point, yeah. He does a lot of those. Well, in the clutch.
Did
Wow.
Did I use a slang term?
No, not really. That's more of a sports term. How do you define in the clutch, though? Maybe you did.
In the last few seconds, or when they're kind of down by 2.
Okay. Yeah, when you need it most, I guess is what I would say. Clutch. He's a darn good shooter. He's actually a darn good basketball player, but he has these stretches where he just kind of disappears. If he's not making a shot, he's not doing much often.
He also gets way too excited about when he hits it.
Nah, not really. He's a file. He's pretty quiet. I don't know him personally, but he's pretty quiet. Some people might say he's aloof.
I don't know what that means.
Of course you don't. It's just not having a care in the world, essentially, just kind of like oblivious, right? So, but he's good. So this could be the last year of the Warriors. To get back to your question, you did hear me say that at some point, and it is indeed true.
So then I'm okay with them winning this year.
So you want to see them go out on top?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's fair enough. So here's here's the thing, though. I guess we'll see because we have Toronto and Milwaukee coming out of the East. Can you name anybody on either of those teams, Toronto or Milwaukee? Just one guy on
Paul
either.
Pierce on one
Paul
of those?
Pierce is retired for 10 years now. And he's not. He was on Boston.
No, I can't.
And the Nets and the Clippers. But
yeah, no one.
You ever heard of Kawhi Leonard?
I've heard of him, but I couldn't picture.
He's on Toronto. Ever heard of the Greek Freak?
He's got a really long last name, right?
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah.
Yes, he's on Milwaukee. Milwaukee's decent. They're up 2-0. They're about to play game 3 as you and I record this right now. You turn around, there they are. And so the interesting stuff in the world of NBA. So the NBA is kind of like, you should really be into this NBA stuff.
I try to be.
Because it's kind of like the Kardashians.
Oh.
Right? There's a lot of drama going off. Most of the Kardashians are sleeping with them anyway. So there's a tie in there naturally, right? Kind of like the Kardashians. A lot of drama. A lot of this guy wants to go to this team, play with this person. If they get this pick, they go there. There's more drama in the NBA, I think, than in the NFL.
Yeah. I guess I could see that.
I'm glad you co-signed that. I'm glad you co-signed it. Well, this has been the other news topic that I was going to use this later on for my things that annoy me, but it's out there really quickly. Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I know nothing.
I know nothing. We know nothing about Game of Thrones. Never seen an episode. It's really not. It's not for me. I don't know if you would be interested in it at all. I don't want to speak for you.
Is it science fiction?
It's dragons and warriors of some sort, and people kill somebody with it's all medieval /
Totally not our thing.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings-ish type stuff, I guess.
About the most medieval we get is that Bud Light commercial.
Dilly Dilly. Yeah,
Dilly Dilly.
That's a good one. That's a good one. So it's the finale's tonight, I think.
Oh.
So people are losing their ever-loving minds over that. And this is the last season. I don't know how many episodes it's been. It feels like it's been a million. But so people don't like what's happening. I don't know what's happening, so I'm sure maybe someone can educate us. And so there are people, I think it's over 500,000 people have signed a petition asking them to redo the entire season.
Like we do another season?
Just like, we didn't like this one, do it again. And they just want them to do it over because they don't like what's happening.
Oh, wow.
I just feel like that'd be like five people calling us and be like, redo your episode again. We didn't like your episode this week. It's our episode. We get to decide.
Is that Netflix?
It is HBO. It is HBO. And so that's how invested people are in this thing, that they are mad that it's not going the way that they thought it should.
Wow. They should probably just wait till tonight to see what actually happens.
Apparently everyone's on displeased, and there's people upset about it. So that's the finale. Speaking of finales, and what's the TV show that you watched that had, you think, the best final episode ever?
Oh, there's a few.
Well, then feel free to talk about them.
I really liked Friends.
Did you really like the Friends one?
And 90210, where Donna and David get married.
They do get married. Coming soon, by the way.
I know it's coming.
Trailers are out now. We'll see what's happening there. So Friends, 90210.
Yeah, those are the ones I can think of. Thank goodness my Grey's Anatomy got renewed for 2 more years, so I don't have to worry about
How many more of those can they do?
They
got to be running out of doctors who have some sort of problem there, I guess. Do you like a happy ending, a sad ending?
Happy.
Like the Sopranos. You remember watching Sopranos?
Yes.
Do you know what happened at the end?
Tony dies, right?
Does he die? That's the question. See, that's what you interpret. Or did you just not know? I don't
remember.
Okay, there you go. they're sitting in a diner, and they're he's waiting for them to come in for dinner, and then one after one, the kids and the family comes in, and then all of a sudden it just fades to black, and you hear the door chime go off, and so you're to assume that maybe he died, maybe someone came in and shot him. It's up to you to decide. That was very controversial. Seinfeld's the other one. I mentioned this earlier. Another very controversial episode. They didn't like the way that ended with him going to jail.
Oh, yeah, that was kind of funny.
I actually liked that episode.
Yeah.
That was just me, though. Okay. So Game of Thrones, I guess it's on tonight if you watch it. I don't know. Find us on Instagram or Facebook. Tell us why we should watch Game of Thrones. We're not going to, by the way. There's no chance in hell I'm going to watch that. But see if you can convince me to watch it, because I doubt you can. I've heard, by the way, there's a lot of risky activity, if you know what I mean, Stephanie.
On Game of Thrones?
A little riskiness. Little this, little that, little touch, little go. That's not going to be enough for me.
Okay.
I can find it on the internet. Good to know. I need to. I don't need to watch Game of Thrones for that.
This is supposed to be the fun part of the show. I doubt that.
All right, so this is the sandbox type segment. Who knows what you're going to get here each week? It could be advice if someone has questions for us. It could be an interview if we have that. It could be a challenge of some sort. And so you're in luck, Stephanie. I happen to have 2 things that we're going to do in this segment, okay?
Okay.
Here's the first one. I was reading this article, and it basically was a quiz. You know how you get on the internet and they have that thing where it's like, can you answer, 10 out of 10 people can't answer this question, or if you can read this thing upside down and backwards, you're 98% smart, right? So it was 9 commonly misspelled words, and basically they say you should be able to get 7 of these 9 to be considered intelligent of some sort.
Is a lot one of them?
And a lot is not one of them.
Oh, I used to get in trouble for that as a kid all the time.
I'm sure you did. A lot is it's a piece of land, by the way.
No, like a lot of candy.
A lot's not a real word. It's a piece of candy. It's a plot of land. So I've got 9 words here, and I'm gonna see if you can spell these.
Okay.
You don't know they're coming. You can try this at home
this is
too.
Like the spelling bee.
It's not. You can. Very good, by the way. I'm proud of you. You can try this at home. As I say these words, you can think in your head real quick. Hit the pause button if you need to. If you need a filibuster a second, you can try along with Stephanie. I will tell you that I had you don't get a pen. What are you motioning me? What do you need a pen? Okay, good. Hold on, Stephanie, the diva of the show here. Hold on, she always needs something. Let me get her set up here with a pen and paper. There you go. There's the paper. There's the pen. So I had to actually fill the survey out to get the answers for these. And I did get 7 of 9. So I did miss 2 in full disclosure. Okay. What are you looking around for?
I need to get something.
Why do you need? There's a desk right in front of you. Just move the mic in a little bit here. This is just studio 1-on-1 here. Okay. So everybody's ready.
Yes.
All right. Here we go. Here's the first word, Stephanie. Ready? Cemetery. Can you spell cemetery? Spell it aloud, obviously. Don't write it down because it's an audio medium here.
Oh,
cemetery.
Boy.
Here, hit me.
Okay.
There is an E in there. You're correct.
CEMETARY.
Afraid that's incorrect.
How do we spell it?
That's CEMETERY.
Oh, I had that first and then
Cemetery.
I changed it.
All right, 0 for 1. There's no chance you don't get this one right. You ready? Vacuum. Vacuum.
Oh, now that you're like putting me on the spot. Okay.
All right.
VACUUM.
That is correct. That is correct. That is vacuum. If you did not know that one, I'd have
We're
been
in
very
trouble.
disappointed in you. All right, ready? Here's the next one. You ready? Lightning. Lightning.
Okay.
Here we go.
LIGHTNING.
That is correct. Lightning. That is correct.
That's 2 for 3.
2 for 3. Okay, here we go. Camouflage.
Yikes.
Camouflage. Camouflage.
Okay. CAMO
Mm-hmm.
FL
Mm-hmm.
AUGE.
There's a lot of letters at the end there. No. Camouflage. CAMOUFLAGE. Camouflage.
Oh, geez,
2 for
Louise.
2. This next one's really tough. I got this one wrong. Because it's actually not. It's a word derived from another language, so you kind of have to understand this. Ready? Hors d'oeuvres.
Oh.
There is an O in there. You're correct.
Hold on.
Okay, I'll hold. Hors
I've
d'oeuvres.
seen this spelled.
You've seen it before. Okay. You like to eat hors d'oeuvres, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you do. Hors d'oeuvres. I'm just gonna filibuster. Let me know when you're ready. I can play more sounds if everybody needs them.
I don't. Okay. Ready?
Yep.
HORD.
Okay.
I didn't even finish.
That you don't need to.
Is the apostrophe in between the R and the D?
Is it where?
In between the R and the D? Just tell me how to spell it.
HORS
Oh, geez.
space D apostrophe OEUVRES. Hors d'oeuvres or hors d'oeuvres.
Yikes.
We've
I
now
was
slipped to
wrong.
2 for 3 all of a sudden. But you're gonna
No, 2 for 4.
2 for 4. I'm not good at math, so there's that. This one, there's no way you can't get this one right. I don't even know why it's in there, but tomorrow.
Okay. TOMORROW.
That's a winner, folks. You're back. All right, you're back on track.
3 for 5.
3 for 5. So there's 3 left.
Actually, 3 for 6.
Well, hold on. You got 1, 2, 3. All right, so you got 3. So you're already not going to make the threshold. But let's just continue on because we have content to fill. Here's the next word. Millennium. Millennium.
MILLENIUM. Oh, jeez Louise. So only one L?
You want to try again or no?
No.
MILLENNIUM. Millennium.
Yikes.
All right, since you are big on world travel, I don't know. You can pronounce this one of two ways. I don't know which one you want to use. It's either Caribbean or Caribbean, however you want to say it. But that is the word. Caribbean/Caribbean is your word. I know you're... Oh.
I would have normally thought I know how to spell this, but now I'm a little scared.
Well, try it again.
CARIBEAN.
Okay.
Is it 2 R's?
What do you think it is?
2 R's? Yikes.
No. Caribbean. CARIBBEAN.
It's 2 B's.
Now, do you say Caribbean or Caribbean? I don't know.
Caribbean.
You say Caribbean?
Yes.
How do we know? Well, we'll look that up later. Okay, last one. This is all one word, by the way. This is somebody who writes a play, a playwright. Somebody who writes a play, sits down, pen, paper, writes a play. Stephanie is writing here. We're all excited about it. This is my golf announcer voice. She's making a face now, and here we go.
Well, I have it written 2 different ways.
Well, you can. All right. Well,
I'll pick the one I think.
I'm sure that'll be right.
PLAYWRIGHT.
That's actually correct.
Wow.
That is correct. I don't know how I should feel with the fact that you had to write it twice, though, because you weren't sure.
Because I wrote the other one without the GH.
Yeah. So recap your score for me again, real quick.
It's not pretty. It's 50% pretty much.
50% of 9. Fantastic.
It was 8.
All right, fantastic.
It was 4 out of 5.
Which
or
is
4 out of 9.
which is not 50%.
You're right.
It's like 45, 40? I'm not good at math.
Something like that.
My math is terrible. Should we tell people that math story about me?
Which one?
My SAT score.
If you want.
I got like a 710 verbal. I killed the verbal. I'm all warbles, right? Like a 210 math. Like my math SAT was terrible. And clearly, you did well on your English SAT?
I basically did 50 and 50. So I did like 550 on both.
Wow.
But the funny thing is, you should tell people that you actually handle millions of dollars in budget now.
That's correct. That's correct.
For work.
Yeah, that's correct.
Scary.
Not for me, it's not. I mean,
it's not your money, right?
It's actually not my money. So that's helpful. All right, so that's a nice little challenge. Feel free if you have one of these you want to try me, Stephanie. This is the benefit I get of actually planning the show and you just showing up here. If you want to do some of these for me, you got fair game.
All right, I'll work on that for next week.
All right, so here's the next thing I got for you. I found a list of just random questions here. Random things that we can question, random things happening. I've got a list here, and this I didn't plan this, so you're going to laugh at this, but so you're going to pick a number between 1 and 69. Not planned. That's just how many there are in this piece of paper. I swear.
Right.
And whatever the question is here, I'm going to read it aloud. We both have to answer this question. So you don't know what these are in advance. I skimmed through this briefly, but I don't know what number ties to what here. These are hard. These are funny. These are all kinds of things.
How many am I asking?
We're just gonna do one. We'll do one a show maybe.
Oh wow!
So you're gonna pick one number, and
then are you gonna cross it off so we remember that?
I will cross it off. Thanks for adjudicating. Maybe that pen back I had to loan you to write down all those.
But look, there was a pen in here this week.
This is the pen that's been in here for all time. This is the pen that should be in here. Not to mention the other one that's on the counter that should be in here. You're stalling. Number, please.
Oh, 7.
All right, this is it. All right, you picked it. This is the question. What is something that is really popular now, but in 5 years, everyone will look back on it and be embarrassed by it?
Instagram.
Wow. Why?
I have no idea. I just think that.
Let me just real quick. Are you familiar with how this works? Like, you're supposed to then opine about stuff. Okay. Go ahead. Continue.
So, like, the other day I was explaining to Addison what a beeper was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what a VCR was. And, like, all these things from back when we were growing up. And she was just, like, floored. Like, are you serious? Like, that is so dorky. That is so, like, terrible. Like, you guys had, like, the worst life, according to her.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like in the future, they're going to look back at like...
Oh, it was not future. It was 5 years.
Okay, 5 years.
Well, here's the thing with the beeper. What's the other one you said?
VCR.
Okay, what else?
House phone.
House phone, okay. The reason those things are embarrassing is that something replaced them, right? There's a new way to do it. So there was a new way to watch movies with DVR and then DVD and then... Now, Netflix, all that streaming stuff,
well,
right?
We don't know. There could be a new way.
What's the new way to Instagram, to share photos on social media?
Well, if I knew that, I'd be a millionaire.
But you think something's coming. So something's going to... So our Facebook, is that safe? Because that's,
Well, I was thinking Facebook and Instagram, but Facebook's already kind of starting to go away. Not away, but down.
Yeah. Well, so I will give you one credit. So MySpace... was big. You're familiar with MySpace? Yeah.
Yes.
MySpace was big, and then it got taken over by Facebook. So you're meaning to tell me that in 5 years there's another social media type thing that's going to come out, and that's what we're gonna use.
I think so.
Okay, so that's your thing.
But I have to tell one other quick story.
Okay.
Addison was amazed when I told her that we had a house phone in every room of the house. She's like, "Well, why would you do that?" And I said, "Well, honey, you couldn't just walk around and talk on the phone."
Well, you could. They made the cordless ones.
I said we had one cordless phone in the kitchen, but like if the phone rang, instead of me running to the kitchen, I just picked up the phone in my room. And she was like, "But like, so somebody else could pick up the phone in the other room and hear what you're saying?" And I was like, "Yes." It was all one line, and she was just floored by that. It was kind of funny.
It's interesting. Whenever you fill out like applications for things, like if you're applying for a credit card, if you're, signing up for a website, they still ask for your home phone.
Yes.
You figure they get rid of it at some point. Like just ask for your phone or just give me your phone number, right?
Yeah.
Like they still call it home phone. So I think I've said this on a previous show, but I highly doubt anyone listened to that show back in the day. So my thing that I think people will be embarrassed about in 5 years is carrying around cash.
I could see how that could...
Think about the practice of dirty money that's been passed around from God knows where to God knows where. We're just manhandling that and stuffing it in our purses and our wallets and all this other stuff. And we're going to go give it to somebody, and then they got to like count out the right number of change back. That entire process is archaic to begin with, right?
And they say money is like the most germy thing there is.
There's got to be some germs involved with the advent of Apple Pay and Google Pay and PayPal and Venmo and all these other things, Zelle. I got to think at some point cash is just going to cease to exist as a Bitcoin, as another one, obviously. It will cease to exist as a thing. So
I agree with that one.
I think 5 years from now, we'll all be embarrassed that we like walked around with wads of bills. I've said this before. The only thing that I think you can replace that for everything except for a few different things. Tipping somebody, you know what I mean? Like the guy who brings you your pizza, or the guy who takes your luggage out to the car for you. I don't know if you're gonna tap your phone with something. I don't know. And then strippers. I don't know what you're gonna throw at strippers. You can't.
Hopefully, you don't have to worry about that.
I mean, I've heard. I don't know. You can't throw like cell phones at them. So we got to figure that piece out. That's a whole industry that'll be impacted by getting rid of dollar bills. But I think paper money.
That's a good one.
Thank you. Do you want to do one more? I mean, this was way faster than I thought. Do you want to do one more? Do you got one more in you?
You picked the number this time.
Well, no, this is much better when you pick the number.
Okay.
We can go to 69 here. So I know you're low on the numbers usually.
I was gonna say.
And real quick, I'm gonna put a star next to it so that indicates that we've done it before.
41.
Number 41 here. What secret conspiracy would you like to start?
I don't have an answer to that.
Secret conspiracy would you like to start? So it doesn't mean it has to be true. It's a conspiracy that you have to start.
Oh my goodness.
Secret conspiracy.
Why don't you go first while I think about that?
I would like to start a conspiracy that the Kardashians are government spies and they've been infiltrated into our society to bring down the education system.
You should have said the law system because Kim Kardashian's studying to be a lawyer.
You sure you want to call it the law system? And not the legal system?
I meant the legal
Did you?
system.
Okay.
What is my conspiracy?
What's your secret conspiracy? Getting to know Stephanie here. Do you want me to filibuster? Do I need to filibuster again? She's thinking out loud. We're back here on the show.
My conspiracy is that children were sent here to drive us insane.
Children were sent here to drive us insane. Okay, well, so we're going to be better at this next week, maybe. There's certain ones on that list I think you're going to struggle with. You're just not your thing.
Not my thing.
This was clearly one of them.
The first one was fine.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed.
Something is annoying my dad. What else is new?
All right, one thing, it's certainly true. I get annoyed pretty easily.
Yes, you do.
But I think we all do, right? I think some people just don't hide it as well. Some people get annoyed less often, but there are things I think that happen each and every day that annoy people.
Yes.
Now, some have a higher threshold for that, and that's good on you if that's you. And some other people just have a longer list of things that annoy you. So each week, I got things every day that I want to share that are kind of annoying me as a thing, as a life, as a society, as a whatever. So I'm going to share those with you because you're listening to my podcast. But I have to invite Stephanie to do the same as well. And so each week we'll give you something that annoyed us this week. Stephanie, what really grinds your gears this week?
Middle school girl drama.
Middle school girl drama. Okay.
I have no patience for it.
Okay.
And I totally don't understand it. And it's like so petty that it makes me want to scream.
Are you able to give us an example? I know this is a tough one. I don't think anybody from middle school listens to the show. But are you able to give us an example of some middle school drama that's just got you all kind of riled up?
They were walking to the park for a field trip.
They being middle schoolers.
Middle schoolers,
Okay.
yes, including our daughter. And I guess she was walking with her friend, and the three girls behind them were convinced that Addison and her friend were talking badly about them. They have no proof. They have no They didn't hear anything. They just had convinced themselves that that's what her and her friend were talking about, walking in front of them. Now, they basically like walk in like a line of like 2s or 3s to the park. It's like a mile away, and it was for a field trip. And so that started some stuff. And then I guess they sprayed Addison and her friend with water.
Okay.
Because they were mad about that. And then from then on, they just decided that those 3 girls decided that they didn't like our daughter and her friend, and that they weren't going to talk to them anymore. And literally it's been like a week and they still are causing drama about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when our daughter tried to talk to them, they and say like, what's wrong? What's the problem? They just won't even give them the time of day.
They don't know what time it is.
No.
Okay.
But it's like the most petty thing.
If you're able to
Sorry.
clear your throat, that's fine. It's petty. I agree. I have no patience for this. It's interesting because you give Addison and you have quite a conflict around these things at times, because you try to give her advice, but you give her advice with your sensibilities, right? So being a 39-year-old woman, you give her your advice, and she, I believe that as I was walking out today to turn the grill on, I believe the quote I heard from Addison is, "You would never survive as a middle schooler these days."
She said you wouldn't survive a day.
You wouldn't survive a day because you try to give Addison advice on how to handle these things. And now, if I'm to be fair and impartial, sometimes your advice is kind of corny. And I could see why Addison would be embarrassed to be like, just you go tell your teacher that they said that.
I never say that, but I did tell her. Friday was game day, and I said, why don't you invite, if you guys are playing the game that you brought, why don't you invite them to play? And then they have no excuse saying like, you don't invite us to things, or you don't involve us, and that you just want to be with your other friend. And I was like, then they can't use that against you.
And did she do those things?
Apparently they did not play the game, but she had no intention of inviting them to play.
Gotcha. Well, again, that's where, I feel bad because I know you're trying to give Addison good advice.
We're going to the Super Bowl! We're going to the Super Bowl!
Just didn't mean to hit that button, but that makes a ton of sense. I feel bad because you're giving Addison advice, and she's young and she's trying to do the right thing and not be embarrassed and made fun of and that stuff. But it's mind-boggling to me the amount of nonsense that comes up for really no good reason. I don't quite get it. I don't quite understand it. I'm not sure what's happening there. Is there medication that we can provide, you think?
I don't think so.
No.
I do. I try to tell her in the future, you're going to look back on this and be like, that was so silly that we, we're in an argument over this.
The funny thing about it is, so for those of you who are listening right now, Addison is in the 6th grade. Stop and think quickly about how many people that you knew in the 6th grade that you still can talk to today, that you could literally pick up your phone and text or call them right now because you still have a relationship with them. It's probably very few. I guess I'm fortunate. I have probably 5 or 6 people whose numbers I still have that I could probably reach out to. Now Facebook and Instagram, which rest in peace Instagram apparently, make that easier. But I mean a true you have their number in your phone and you could reach out to them right now. It's probably pretty small, right?
Yes.
And that's the funny thing. But when you're in that age group, you feel like you're going to know these people forever, and it's just interesting. Yes, and I try and keep that in mind when I'm talking to her. And I know for a 6th grader, that's their whole world, this group of friends, and what happens during the day at school. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's a good annoying one. All right, mine's a little interesting. I need to give examples of this, but mine's more of a societal annoyance, and that being that we seem to live in an age where we feel like only one thing can be right. Now, and I don't mean a math equation or spelling, which, by the way, great job. I don't mean like that. I mean just opinions or thoughts or things along those things, right? That only one thing can be correct, right? So let me give you an example. For, you can say something along the lines of, I think, all of, country music is terrible, but yet there can still be a good country music artist, right? There are things that can both be right at the same time. Yes. And in life, I think we do a lot of these absolutes where we're like, I don't like this person, or I don't like this thing, or I don't like that, right? You could say that hey, The people who work in this company are typically bad, or they don't get a good chance. However, this person's a bad employee. Like we just do this all the time. Where like there's only one right answer, only one thing that can be correct. That's really annoying to me.
And so what should we do?
I'm not sure I explained that really well too, because I'm trying not to explain it in a manner that's going to
get you in trouble.
Yeah, get me in trouble, I suppose. But there can be multiple things correct at the same time, right? Like a sports analogy, like you can. A team cannot be good, but yet have a good player. Like there are things that can be right, but we live in a society where it's either you're right or wrong. This is the only thing that can be true, and there's nothing else that can be true. And because this is true, everything else has to be true. I just don't understand that. It flummoxes me.
But I can see like that probably bothers a lot of people.
I don't think it does. I think a lot of people want to just be like, this is my opinion and it's right, or this is what I think and it's right, and not recognize that politically, let's just say, like, you can believe in a political party, but yet think that one of their rules is dumb.
And I do.
But people don't. Like, a lot of people are like, nope, I'm in this political affiliation, so like I believe everything they say.
Right.
Versus saying like, hey, I believe in this political affiliation, but this bill that they want to pass or this referendum that they've got, no, that's stupid. But like, that's not how we do things. Like, we just say, nope, it's coming from this, so it's got to be right, or it's coming from this, so it's got to be correct.
Yeah, and I can imagine how in a workplace that happens a lot, and that can be frustrating for anyone.
Yeah, workplaces are interesting. I think it depends on the scenario, right? Like, you can say so and so, didn't do a good job, but yet, they did well on another thing, right? Just because they didn't do a good job here doesn't mean they're not good in general, or whatever. But it's just annoying that we live in a world where there are two things cannot be right at the same time. But the reality is that's actually probably more likely to happen than not. And it's okay, like, to be like, hey, I think this, but I also think this. I think it's okay, but we live in a world where, hot take, and you gotta be first, and you gotta be right, and yada, yada, yada. That annoys me.
Oh, yours was much deeper than mine.
Well, that's not surprising.
Yeah.
That's really not surprising. What else isn't surprising is that we've actually finished a whole show.
Wow.
Actually, maybe that is surprising. I wasn't sure. I see your phone going off, so I see I'm losing you now. So we're probably gonna have to wrap the show at this point because Stephanie's getting text messages. I kind of want to know who that's from though, because you're
my
very,
sister about my mother.
So you're very distracted now, and so probably a good opportunity to end the show. But a couple things you guys owe us, right? So let us know how many words you got right in the Stephanie can't spell spelling test. Let us know how many of those you got correct. What do you think is going to leave us in 5 years? Again, rest in peace to Instagram, apparently. And then tell us a little bit about why we should watch Game of Thrones. We're not going to, but if you want to spend some time trying to convince us, feel free to do that. You can probably check back with us next week, Steph, right? Are you free next week for a show?
Next week might be a little iffy.
Might be a little iffy. Okay.
We have a guest coming. Remember?
Our first guest?
I don't know if she agreed to come on here, but
I mean, that's just part of what happens when you're here in the studio. You just come on the show.
Yeah, we'll see. Once she sees the studio, it might change her mind.
So maybe in studio guest next week, someone who can tell embarrassing stories about both of us. Probably more you than me, right?
Probably.
There's also more of yours to tell than mine. And so maybe stay tuned next week. As always, you people listen to us. We don't know why. Even when we didn't do a show for a week, some people asked why we didn't do a show. There's not a lot of you, but you're a loyal bunch.
Yes, we thank you. And
we appreciate you for listening to us. Again, follow us, find us, keep track, give us some comments. Go to iTunes, by the way, if you could, really quickly. Subscribe, rate, review. So leave a review of the show, like write some verbiage, like really love these two, it's great. Rate us, give us a couple of stars, maybe 5. I don't know if you're laying around. 5 would be good.
Sounds good.
Okay, well, Stephanie's done, so we're 2. Bye.
Bye.